So I was thinking about what films I collect on Blu-ray and the stuff that I've collected over the years on DVD, and looking at the specifics all together when you take into account how many movies there are made, how many movies that I own, and what specific genre they're in. I've realised that what I seem to focus on the most are cult films and science fiction, action, and horror. Now, it's not to say that I don't have any like comedies or dramas, but those seem to be the genres that I focus mostly on. So when I was looking through the DVDs that I put up on the shelving in the alcove above the TV, I noticed that the majority of them were action movies. So there's things there like Replicant, the Jean-Claude Van Damme film. There's Invasion USA, the Chuck Norris movie. There's Walter Hill's The Driver on DVD. We've also got Free Jack, that terrible early 90s sci-fi action film with Emilio Estevez and Anthony Hopkins. Then there's stuff like the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, like Baby Car at the River Styx and stuff like that. So there's some Chambara movies in there as well. But I've also, on this section, on these shelves, I've got all of the Friday the 13th movies on DVD. But then I look at the Blu-ray collection, and then I've got, like, the box sets start with comic book movies, so technically action movies. So you've got Batman, and then X-Men, and then you've got 80s science fiction with Back to the Future. But you could class that as comedy as well, I guess. And then the Battlestar Galactica series, and then the animated Batman. And then I've got westerns, so Clint Eastwood, and then Die Hard, Fast and the Furious, Flash Gordon, Grease 2. Well, Grease 1 and 2. Not really the same type of film you'd put in a category with Flash Gordon and Fast and the Furious. But then Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. Coming down, we've got the Kill Bill, Lethal Weapon. We've got all three Mad Max movies on 4K. I've got the box set of all three Mad Max movies. Then we've got The Man with No Name, more westerns, more Clint movies. The Matrix, action. Rambo, action. Rocky, technically it's action or drama. I'd say the first two films were more drama, and then obviously Rocky Balboa was more drama, but 3, 4, and 5 are technically action films. Scream, horror. Star Trek, sci-fi. Star Wars, Superman. The classic monsters, and then The Walking Dead. These are just the box sets. And then I look at the slipcases. And then if you come further down, we've got Seagal collection, action. The Stallone collection, action. And we've got Avatar, which is sci-fi. American Sniper, which is action. You move along, you see, you've got 70s, 60s stuff like Bullet, and then more Clint movies, and then more like westerns and action and science fiction. And I was just thinking, while going through it all, I'm clearly leaning towards specific genres. These are the movies that I derive enjoyment from. Like, I'm not going to badmouth other movies. I'm not going to badmouth dramas and comedies, because I've got a fair few comedies. I love slapstick stuff. I love the Adam Sandler movies. Maybe not the Netflix stuff, but I love like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and Big Daddy and Mr. Deeds and The Wedding Singer. These are like comedies that I grew up on. And then stuff like Basketball. Or what else have I got as comedy? So like Basketball, The Burbs. I love The Burbs. The Burbs is a great movie. Brilliant Joe Dante film. But then even up here, like, I've got all the Disney movies at the top, but they're not all the Disney movies, because there's some that I'm not really bothered by. But next to them, I've got my steelbooks, and when I look at the steelbooks, I've got just genre stuff. So I've got Vanishing Point, Wanted, Magnificent Seven, Big Trouble in Little China, Super 8, Dick Tracy, Elysium, Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead, and The Rocketeer, which are all genre films. And when you use the term genre, I know genres, technically it's a word that you can use to across the board. So genre is technically the category that those certain films would fall into like Shawshank Redemption would be a drama. Basketball is a comedy. The Thing is a horror movie, but it's also a sci-fi movie. So where do you put that? Do you put that in horror and sci-fi? Like, I'm not 100% sure. Is that where I would put it? Do I put it in horror, or do I just have like a specific John Carpenter section? Like when I showed in the last video, when I picked up The Fog and They Live, like, these are replacements. Do I have a specific section for John Carpenter movies, or do I put them alphabetized in genres, in like sci-fi, horror? I don't. This is what I'm confused at when it comes to. I'm not confused at, but what I'm struggling with when it comes to organising my collection. Also, by the way, I picked up Escape from New York because I did not find my copy of Escape from New York, and this was £6 in CEX, and I thought it would be stupid not to pick it up, so I did. And now I have the 3 John Carpenter movies there. I'm not going to buy the Studio Canal release of Prince of Darkness because I already have it. Same with, and I was saying about this the other night, I was like, I also have a German release of In the Mouth of Madness as well. Fantastic. Like I said in the last video, probably Carpenter's last great movie. And that's not to say that Ghost of Mars and vampires aren't fun, but I'd say out of his 90s output, In the Mouth of Madness is probably top tier Carpenter. Even though it does some at times feel Stephen King-y. But we move on. So, as I was saying, like, going through it and looking at like the genres that I collect, when I do have to eventually reorganize this collection, how do I reorganize it? Do I organize it? Because I can put it into genres. I can. It's mostly going to be action because I have more action than I do science fiction and horror. But I've also got this thing where I want to put all my post-apocalypse movies together. So I've got like the Mad Max films. I've got A Boy and His Dog. I've got like The Rover. Again, another great post-apocalypse film, which kind of gets overlooked when people talk about that genre. It's a film that stars Robert Pattinson and Guy Pearce, and it's sort of like, you could take it as happening at the same time as the original Mad Max movie, where society is collapsed and we follow these two people instead of following Max. It's very much a different film to Mad Max. It's more a drama, whereas that's more of a thriller and action movie, and then it becomes a revenge movie. So do I put all of those together? Do I have my dystopian post-apocalypse movies together, along with TV shows like The Changes and Survivors and Jericho and what was the other one? Tripods. Do I have them together because they are technically post-apocalyptic? Or do I do it by actors? Do I put all my Nick Cage movies together? Do I put all my Christian Slater films together? All my Clint Eastwood films together? This is where I need the help, because over the years, when I have organised my collection, I've organised it by box size, so all the box sets first, then slipcase, then alpha. But now I'm thinking, when I do get new shelving and I do move house, do I want to keep it the same? Do I want to organise it in a different way? Do I want to... I don't know. I'm a person who will never ever put Blu-rays and DVDs together because I do not like it. It looks silly. I would have all the DVDs together, all Blu-rays together. I wouldn't mix and match. Not at all. So this is where I'm struggling. This is where I'm struggling. Another thing I wanted to show and talk, not show, but wanted to talk about is, and I've misplaced them now because I'm a fucking idiot. is I bought some new movies. Oh, there they are. So I bought some new films. One of them is the Shaft collection on the Criterion. This was I picked this up in CEX. This was about 15 quid. And I picked up Eureka's release of Ringo Lam's Wild Search, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, because it's a Chow Yun-fat film that I haven't seen, and really looking forward to checking this out. But like, do I put this under action or crime, or do I put it under like Hong Kong cinema? What do I do with Shaft? Do I put it under blaxploitation? Do I put it under 70s crime, or do I put it as a label with the Criterion? And the only reason I say that is because I've only got 3 Criterion films, which is Shaft, Tokyo Drifter, and Night of the Living Dead. Now, yes, I would love to have a collection of Criterion movies, like everybody would. But, and I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm not a huge fan of the majority of films that get released by Criterion. I love the Shaft movies. I've got them on DVD, and these are perfect upgrades. Tokyo Drifter, again, another great film. I love that film. I watched it on a dodgy old pre-boutique Eureka DVD, I think it was. Or it might have been a second sight DVD. I can't remember now. And obviously, Night of the Living Dead is fucking classic. Anything by George Romero, with the exception of Martin, because I'm not a huge fan of that, which is why I own... Do I own DVD? No, I literally just sold the DVD. The Arrow White Box DVD. Because I'm just not a fan of it. It's probably the only George Romero film that I just don't get on with. Like, who is it? One company, I think it might be in 88 Films, or it might be Second Sight. It might even very well be Arrow. I can't remember now. Has just announced that they're going to be releasing Romero's Bruiser, which is the last film he made before he returned to the Zombieland. Well, the world of zombies, not Zombieland. He never made Zombieland. So before he returned to the world of the zombies. So, like, his 90s output wasn't great. I think it was Two Evil Eyes, which was like 1992, I think. And then, what else? He didn't really do anything in the 90s. I can't remember now. But Bruiser was like his comeback, apparently. And it's a good film. It's an interesting film that you wouldn't necessarily expect to come from a filmmaker like George Romero. You'd expect more zombie films. But it was 2004, 2005 that Land of the Dead came out, and then obviously Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, which is a shame that those last 2 films weren't great. But Land of the Dead, fucking awesome movie. Love that film. So that's the question: is like, where do I put these films? How do I organise these movies? And one thing about me is I love organising my films. I love it. And like I said in previous videos, it'll never be finished. You'll never be satisfied with how you arrange it, how you alphabetize it, or if you genre it or label it or if you do it by label, you'll never be satisfied, because you'll always end up getting more. And the one thing which I don't understand this. So, movie collectors, when they show off their collections on YouTube or in Instagram posts as well, they always have like half a shelf, then another half a shelf, then another half a shelf, with all these gaps and stuff. And being OCD, that frustrates the crap out of me, because I'm just like, fill your shelves, please fill your shelves. It's making me anxious. It gives me anxiety that I see these collectors with half shelves of DVDs. And I assume the reason they're half shelves is because they're leaving space for newer stuff. But that's the joy of collecting. The joy of collecting, and also a frustration of collecting, is getting your collection how you want it, then buying more stuff and realising, oh shit, I've got to find a way to fit it all in. And that for me is the most fun part of the collecting, is the organisation, is having it done the way you want it. And like I said, it'll never be finished, it'll never be correct, it'll always change. Like, I used to have these here, those used to be there, these used to be over there. Like the DVDs that are on the shelves above the TV now in the alcove, none of those are alphabetized. I just chucked them up there just to fill them out, because it was frustrating me that that I had gaps, which is what I was just talking about. But again, this is another thing that I wanted to see. When it comes to labels, do I filter the titles in with their respective genres or sequels, or similar vein, or actors? So like maybe something like the Yakuza, the 1970s Paul Schrader film, well, written by Paul Schrader and his brother. It's a Robert Mitchum movie. Do I put it with other Robert Mitchum movies, or do I put it with 1970s crime thrillers? Do I put it with Paul Schrader movies? Do I put it with Yakuza films, Japanese cinema? Because even though it's not technically a Japanese movie, it's an American movie set in Japan. Or something like, what else we got? Krull. Like, where does Krull go? Is Krull fantasy? Is it science fiction? Is it action? Where does it go? Or do I just keep them all uniform by label and have them look as they are now? Like, one thing I wanted to point is, obviously, I have recently purchased... I'm trying to get Leonardo to stand up. He's probably going to take a dive in a minute. So I recently purchased the Planet of the Vampires, the Radiance release of Planet of the Vampires, and I didn't really have time to show much of this off in the what the fuck have I bought video. This is an absolutely stunning set, by the way, and I will go through it a little bit now. So obviously it comes in this hard box, really nice. It's got Planet of the Vampires written on the side, and the artwork on these cases are gorgeous. I think it wraps around, so it looks like somewhat like that. But then on the inside you've got like the original poster artwork, which I think is Attack or Terra nello Spazio, which I'm assuming is the original Italian title for it, which I'm going to flip it around to see what it looks like in the box, because I haven't done this yet, and I think Radiance have done a really good job with this. I checked out the picture quality the other day and was blown away by how good it was. So there's the Planet of the Vampires. It's got all the stuff on the back, but it's only single disc, one disc. It's not 4K, it's just regular Blu-ray. But I've kept the U card, or one, because this is not a J card. This is a U card. I've kept the U card because that was around the thing, but it also has collector's art cards, and I did not know it had this, but I believe this is a original artwork poster, which we shall have a look at now, because I haven't looked at this. So let's have a goosey gander. Oh no, it's not. It's a booklet. I thought it was a poster, but it's not. It's a booklet, which is really cool. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's a great release from Radiance, and it's interesting there's a booklet in there, because it also comes with a Argos catalogue. No, it doesn't. It comes with this. It says Argos 150911965 Diario di Bordo, which is essentially behind the scenes making of booklet for Planet of the Vampires. But here's the problem I've got with Planet of the Vampires. Where do I fucking put it? Do I keep it with all the other hard boxes, which is weird because I've separated the Mad Max movies into the down to here, but I've kept all the other hard boxes up here. So things like Flight the Navigator, Dawn of the Dead, Planet of the Vampires, Graveyard of Honor, the Sartana Collection, Six Gothic Tales, Robin Hood, Waterworld. These are all together, whereas I've got the hard boxes for the 4K Mad Max movies down here. And I've got also I've got a hard box Star Wars trilogy as well. Do I filter it into genre, or do I keep it where it is and keep it as keep it uniform with the hard boxes? Again, the same thing with slipcases. Do I keep slipcases together, or do I filter them in alphabetized with just regular Amaray cases? Now, this is the stuff that I'm just going to have to work out when it comes to finally reorganizing, because it's going to be a while. If I end up, because when I have to, well, when the house sells, if it sells, who knows if it'll sell. When the house sells, I am going to have to get rid of these, because, like I said, I hate these shelves. I've had these for years and years and years now. They don't match up. In fact, there is a bookshelf just in the corner, in DVD corner, which is missing a shelf because I added it to this one. I added it to this one to give it an extra shelf. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 shelves on there, and there are 6 shelves on here. It doesn't match up, and I hate it, and I want it to look flush and look great and really nice. So I'm probably going to get some Billy bookcases, but it's going to be a while before I'm going to be able to do that, because if me and my brother want to buy a place, there's no point in me just buying a shit ton of furniture, because I'm not going to be able to put it anywhere. So when it does come time to reorganize this, that is what I want to know, is how the hell do I organize it? How do you organize yours? How do you organize your movies? Like, do you do it in alphabetized? Do you do it like I did, by box set, then by label or boutique label, and then by slipcase, and then by alpha and regular Amaray? How do you do it? Because I've been doing this for years and years and years and years, and I've never strayed away from how I've got it now. But I think I want to, and I want to know what you guys do. I know this isn't a long one. This is a short one today. And yeah, that's all I just wanted to talk about, is just how do I organise my collection, and what genres I love. So yeah, thanks for everyone who watched the last videos. The last videos were fantastic. They really went off, like really in very short amounts of time. Like the What the Fuck Did I Buy episode 5, which I posted about 5 days ago, I think it was, has already hit 1,000 views, which is insanely good. And the last video, the movies that stay on the shelf, has nearly hit 1,000 views. Like the last video before that about soundtracks has only just hit 200 views. So clearly you guys want to see me talk about movies and physical media, and not necessarily deviate from that path. But I want to thank everyone, and yeah. So as usual, this is Pedro's Movie Cavern, really. And I'm going to give you the usual salute and say, I'm out. Peace. Cheers.